Welcome to Anticipating Christ's Return YouTube channel, a place where we can gather together and joyfully anticipate the return of our Lord. I hope you enjoy. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Caitlin. Today I just want to get on and share something that has been on my mind. Last night I was sound asleep and I was kind of awoken with a phrase that President Nelson has said in a conference talk. And so I pulled up the conference talk and I kind of read, I didn't read the whole talk. It's from the talk Spiritual Treasures, and that's one that I basically have memorized. I've listened to that conference talk so many times. But I want to share the line and kind of the surrounding things that he talks about in this talk that came to my mind. And then I want to share a few other quotes that have been on my mind. And anyway, talk about it a little bit. And I've kind of been pushing off this video today. I knew I needed to make a video on it. I knew when it woke me up in the middle of the night that I needed to make a video on it, but I'm like, no, I've already made a video about this and I don't necessarily want to address it again. But it felt important to share these quotes. And so anyway, I'll just get to it. So the quote that came to my mind that kind of woke me up out of my sleep was this. Let me be very clear about this. If the world loses the moral rectitude of its women, the world will never recover. So that's the phrase that came to my mind. If the world loses the moral rectitude of its women, the world will never recover. And okay, so I before I get too much into my thoughts and my feelings about all of this, let me just read the surrounding quote from him. So, he says, from the dawning of time, women have been blessed with a unique moral compass, the ability to distinguish right from wrong. This gift is enhanced in those who make and keep covenants, and it diminishes in those who willfully ignore the commandments of God. I hasten to add that I don't absolve men in any way from God's requirement for them also to distinguish between right and wrong. But my dear sisters, your ability to discern truth from error and to be society's guardians of morality is crucial in these latter days, and we depend upon you to teach others to do likewise. And then this quote, let me be very clear about this. If the world loses the moral rectitude of its women, the world will never recover. We Latter-day Saints are not of the world. We are of covenant Israel. We are called to prepare a people for the second coming of the Lord. Okay, so this unique moral compass that is enhanced when we make and keep covenants. Isn't that so interesting that is something that we have been blessed with as women? Now, I know that there's a lot of men who watch my videos, and this is not just a strictly for women video. Like he says, he does not absolve men in any way from God's requirements to distinguish right and wrong. But there's something special in women to be able to discern and to be society's guardians of morality. That phrase, society's guardians of morality, seems so interesting in our times that we're living in now. I've previously made a video about some things that are happening, and it's not just this, it is the world at large. There are so many, there are, sorry, I had to take a phone call. But the world that we live in right now is just testing these limits. And I want to go to this statement back from the church before I say the next thing that's on my mind. But it says, some portrayals are fair and accurate, but others resort to stereotypes or gross misrepresentations that are in poor taste and have real life consequences for people of faith. Okay, so when I first read that, I thought like, oh yeah, like I am sure there are people who are going to who already have had these consequences. But I didn't really think of it personally until I posted that video of me just talking about this statement that the church made and how they kind of, I don't even remember. My mind has just been like a constant wheel just turning since this. So I don't even remember like exactly what I said versus, sorry, my son's in here. But, and I know you guys don't care, but that's what the noise is. But I didn't realize that the real life consequences for people of faith would include me in that and include women all over who, or people all over who are standing up for their covenants and for this lifestyle. It's not even that like we need to defend the church because I don't know if you guys listened to that oh my gosh, the devotional from Elder Bednar, but in it he's like, the church doesn't really need defending. And so I need to be careful that I'm not getting on here and being like, I'm defending the church. Like, the church is going to be okay. And so sorry. The church is going to be okay, but I think, and going back to this conference talk from President Nelson, this ability to be society's guardians of morality, it seems super important for women to stand up for truth and stand up. And I have been accused of bullying. I have been accused of judging harshly. I have been accused of, someone made a comment of like, why do you care how other people live their religion? And it's not even, I'm sorry, my son almost, just a second. Sorry, some videos are harder to record than others, and I don't know. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so it seems, I don't know, it just seems like there is something important about being a guardian of morality. But I think what I was saying, sorry, I think what I was saying is, someone said, why don't you just allow them to live their religion and you can live yours however you want? And I just had the thought, and maybe this is going to come off, I don't mean it to come off so blunt, but this commenter was like, I grew up Catholic and there are so many different versions of Catholic and it's great, And I just thought, but there's a difference, of I don't want this to come off rude or prideful or insensitive in any way, but when it's God's restored church on the earth, and we have covenanted to not only we've made covenants with God, and to break covenant that we have made. It's interesting, we are studying about making covenants this week in Come Follow Me. And it is no small thing to take lightly covenants that we've made, or even to break covenants. And I just think it is. So here is in Alma 53. I didn't have this pulled up previously, or else I'd pull it over onto my gospel library. But it says, so Alma 53 verse 13, it says, "But it came to pass that when they saw the danger and the many afflictions and tribulations which the Nephites bore for them," and this is talking about those who had made a covenant to bury their weapons of rebellion. And it says that they were moved with compassion, and they were desirous to take up arms in defense of their country. So it wasn't that they wanted to do it to be bad or to get back at them, but they were moved on compassion because they saw their afflictions and tribulations of those who were willing to put their life on the line to defend those that had made a covenant. And Helaman, being the wonderful leader that he was, he says that Helaman, Helaman feared lest by so doing they should lose their souls if they were to break the oath which they had made. So he was nervous and concerned that them breaking this covenant, this oath that they made to bury their weapons of war, to bury their weapons of rebellion, because remember, they were a ferocious people who delighted in the bloodshed. And so they made an oath and a covenant to bury that so that their swords could remain clean. And so Helaman, being the good leader that he is, he said, "No, I don't want you to have to break that covenant that you've made, because I'm worried that you're going to lose your souls." So then what happened? They had sons. These people who had made this covenant with God to never bring up swords. By this point, they had sons who have not entered into this covenant, and that they would not take up their weapons of war to defend themselves. And so they assembled themselves together and they took up arms. And then the sons entered into a covenant to fight. And you think of how hard and all the sacrifice that went into the parents of their sons to not, as a parent, I would have probably been like, no, seriously, like, let me go fight. I would rather die than my children. But they had made that covenant with God. That was not something, I bet, that they took lightly, to make their sons bind themselves to a covenant to defend themselves, because they didn't know the outcome. They didn't know if they were going to lose their sons in war. And then just later, I just love that it was that they'd been taught by their mothers. And I love that, thinking about going back to this verse, that President Nelson is talking about the sisters and the ability to discern truth from error and to be society's guardians of morality, and how it is crucial in these latter days. And I think of that. I think of that with these stripling warriors whose mothers taught them that if they didn't doubt God, that everything would be okay. And covenants, the importance of covenants in our life. When you make a promise to God and when God promises to you, we should keep that. And are we perfect? No, like no one's perfect. Jesus Christ was the only perfect person. So I'm not getting on my high horse and saying like I'm perfect and I'm the best example. But we have to be striving to be society's guardians of morality. We have to be striving to make and keep our covenants and to hold them sacred and close to us. Okay, I have some other things that I want to share with you really quick. And I've shared this with you guys before. I'll probably share it again, but this is from A Plea to My Sisters. This is October 2015. And this is when President Nelson quotes Spencer W. Kimball. And he says he made a profound prophecy about the impact that covenant-keeping women would have on the future of the Lord's church. And I just think, okay, before I go too much further, I don't think I finished my thought about how what the real life consequences of people of faith, what that statement means to me now, a few days after I came out and talked about this. But it has to do with this being a covenant-keeping woman and the comments, not only that I've received, but that other people have received. It's interesting, and you know what, maybe I shouldn't even mention names, but since the whole thing, I've just been seeing tons of people, and it's been amazing, but I've seen tons of people stand up and say, like, this is what a real member, a wife who is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, this is what she looks like. And it's moms teaching their children, it's moms studying their scriptures, it's moms cooking dinner, like all these things that we're doing. And a lot of it is not fanfare, a lot of it is not popular or whatever, but the comments are like, why are you so judgy, or why are you this, why are you that? And it's like, it's so interesting how people will always say like, oh, you're so judgy, why are you judgy? And yet in the same sentence as they're calling us judgy, they're judging those of us who are covenant keeping or who are trying to stand up for what is true. And so when it says these misrepresentations are in poor taste and they have real life consequences for people of faith, I've felt that, and I know others have felt it. And it's not like we're trying to judge or to bring them down, but it's more of, are we going to stand up and represent who we are? Or better yet, represent, that's good, who we are with Jesus Christ and with his restored church, and with covenants that we've made that bind ourselves to him? Are we going to stand up and be promoting faith and promoting righteousness and promoting keeping covenant with God? And will there be consequences? Yeah. I mean, people of the world are going to attack us because of that. But yet, there is also going to be blessings, good consequences, you could say, of and blessings that come from us standing up and speaking out for truth and for righteousness. Okay, so let me go back. So he prophesied, much of the major growth that is coming to the church in the last days will come because of many of the good women of the world will be drawn to the Many of the good women of the world will be drawn to the church in large numbers. This will happen to the degree that the women of the church reflect righteousness and articulateness in their lives, to a degree that the women of the church are seen as distinct and different in happy ways from the women of the world. And I just love this, that they will be, or we will be, seen as distinct and different, because we are. And that's not a bad thing. Yet the world would make it seem like it's a bad thing to be, but that it's in happy ways, and that we can be happy and we can be a light to those without compromising our standards or the covenants that we have made. And then he goes on to say, so that was the end of the quote from President Kimball. But President Nelson goes on to say, my dear sisters, you who are our vital associates during this winding up scene, the day that President Kimball foresaw is today. You are the women he foresaw. Your virtue, light, love, knowledge, courage, character, faith, and righteous lives will draw good women of the world, along with their families, to the church in unprecedented numbers. And I love that. And not that this is about the comments that I've received, but the world would tell you that standing up, we've talked about judging, but standing up for your faith is judging. And I had someone say, that's why my wife left the church, is because members like you who were judgmental towards her. And first of all, that broke my heart, because I really, honestly, if you're just quietly going about your life and doing the best you can, I honestly don't care. Like, it's when something goes so public, and they, like, the thing that kills me is that the trailer was so, and I know that it's Hulu's fault, but the trailer was so twisted against, the Mormons, and it's like, are you really surprised that faithful, covenant-keeping women are feeling the need to stand up for those covenants, or that? Are you really surprised after watching a trailer like that, where it says we need to just a second, man, I have not had a video that has been this difficult to record for a long time. I apologize for all the distractions that have happened during this video, and I think it's just kind of a sign of how important this message is and the resistance that I am met with. But I hope that this encourages you guys to have the courage to stand up and speak out in a kind way for your covenants and your beliefs and for truth. These are the latter days, and I truly believe that we are coming up to the second coming of Jesus Christ. I don't know when, I don't know how soon, but but it feels like things are just increasing, both good and bad. And anyway, just I hope that we can be strong, and I hope that we can gather together and buoy each other up and encourage people, encourage people who want to stand up and be different and distinct in happy ways, and encourage people who maybe not so, who maybe not see themselves as that type of a member or whatever. Encourage them maybe to become that. It's not too late. And I've said this in previous videos recently, but I'm so grateful for the atonement of Jesus Christ, and I use it daily. And I think that's one of the big lies of Satan, is that you're too far gone, or you're just the way that you are and you don't need to change and all that. And the gospel of Jesus Christ actually teaches the exact opposite. He loves everyone, but he loves us too much to allow us to stay who our natural man is. He wants us to become better and to become distinct and different, and to be society's defenders of morality. It's a hard burden to bear. It really is. It's hard to be, to know that it is on us to teach our children and to teach our families. My son's looking at me like, Mom, why are you crying? Come here, bud. But if we don't teach our children or our grandchildren or those we love or those around us, lift where you stand, right? If we're not teaching those we love and those in our stewardships, then the world will teach other things. And it's just a sad day if the world takes over and teaches our children or our grandchildren the things of the world instead of the things of God. But we have the tools to do so. We have the tools to teach the people that we love about God and about covenant and about righteousness and about faithfulness and about all the things that matter, that truly, truly matter. I've said this in a previous video, and I'll say it again, but tell me that there is not a spiritual war going on. Tell me that worldly things that and when I say worldly things, tell me that wars that come and go are more important than spiritual wars. Like, I personally think that spiritual wars are the scariest type of warfare there is. And I get comments. Typically when my videos reach larger audiences, people say like, no way, it's easy to see spiritual. I disagree. I think it's harder to see the spiritual ramifications or, the spiritual things. Most people don't even think past this life. And so to think that there is spiritual warfare going on for souls of men, and that what happens on this earth is going to last into the eternities, which most people can't even fathom or believe in. But what we do here affects that, and you think that physical wars are the scary parts. I strongly disagree. And I think that's why it's so important to do the small things every day, to read, to pray, to repent, do the small things daily. that will ensure our spiritual safety for the eternities to come. Just for, this life, for sure, that blessings will come from us following Jesus Christ. But in the eternities, God promises us to give us everything he has if we are faithful to him. And Satan knows that. And he's trying to attack us. And I wish I could scream it out from my rooftops of how dangerous it is out there, that so many voices are twisting and distorting faith, and are making people who are trying to do good, and trying to keep their covenants, and trying to keep things sacred, and trying to live these honorable, faith-filled lives, and yet the world is twisting our message to be one of hate, one of judgment, one of exclusivity, and yet we know that everything is the opposite, that our message is of love, of repentance, that none of us are perfect, but we can turn back to Christ, and that God is inclusive. He wants all of his children to return to him. He won't force that, but that is his desire. That is his work and his glory, to bring to pass the immortality and eternal life of his children. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. If this message resonated with you, please share, subscribe, comment, share it with others who maybe are having a hard time with current events going on. I've had conversations with neighbors and friends that are having a hard time because they're being accused of being judgmental, or maybe kind of just having this sadness because of the current events in the world, and I've had conversations with them. So if this is something that you think could maybe help others, please share it. And let's just try to be kind. Let's especially try to live our covenants, and to live in a way that people see Jesus Christ when they look at us. And that's in being kind to those who oppose us, and being kind and maintaining, being kind to those who oppose us, but also maintaining our faith, and maintaining our covenants, and the commandments of God, the rules. It's so important. So anyway, thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.